No, she was 7. Okay, so I've gotten lots of requests for this video. I'm just going to make a video. Actually, this is going to be the video about why I stopped being a mortician, because I've been asked so many times in the comments on different videos, so I just thought I'd make a video to answer it once and for all. The reason that I quit, I'm sorry, I'm painting my nail. The reason why I quit being a mortician was not because of the job. It was not anything about the physical or mental part of being a mortician. It had nothing to do with it. It was actually the people that I was working with. The live people is what ran me off, okay? Not the dead. The dead were cool. They were very peaceful. They didn't have much to say, and, you know, they just kind of, you know, didn't bother anyone. So, I'm going to tell y'all the story of why I quit. Now this is the last funeral paying job that I was at. It was a very nice funeral home, and my boss was female, and I thought, okay, well, you know, I could do this because, you know, cool boss, you know, we had the same sign. She was a Pisces, I was a Pisces, you know, blah, 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 blah. So at first we got along good because we were very, like, much alike. But she was a little older than me. She was probably older. She was old enough to be my mom, okay? She was older than me, old enough to be my mom, but she was still attractive. Now, I got this job because her son, who was a grown man, saw me driving a hearse for a different funeral home. And he called up that funeral home asking, you know, giving my description, asking for me or to relay a message. He gave the phone number to the receptionist, and I got the phone number. So he called and he was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. My mom has a funeral home. If you want to ever work at our funeral home, let me know because you would fit right in, and da, 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 da. And I was like, okay. So when I got tired of that funeral home because I couldn't get an internship like I wanted, I was just working, but at that time I needed an internship to complete like my paperwork, and I got half of it. Like I had half of it, and I was like, okay, this is cool. I was doing all the work of a mortician. I had, you know, been working there for almost a year, but the lady that was in charge of the internships was a lesbian, and she really liked me, and she kept asking me to go, you know, places with her, and I had a boyfriend at the time, so, you know, and plus I'm not a lesbian. No offense to lesbians, but that just wasn't how I was, you know. So I ended up quitting that job, going to this new funeral home, which was very nice, and it wasn't corporate owned. It was owned by a group of people, predominant African Americans. Owned this funeral home in Houston. There was a surgeon, a real estate developer, a congresswoman, and a funeral director that owned this funeral home. So I worked for them, and everything was cool at first. And everyone kept telling me, like all my friends in different funeral homes that worked, was telling me, no one lasts 6 months over there. You're going to quit within 6 months, and da-da-da-da. That lady is crazy. And I was like, no, she's nice, she's nice. They're like, just wait, just wait. So lo and behold, she did turn out to be crazy. So the reason I quit was because this lady was very rude. She was very snappy and sarcastic. And I know because I'm a Pisces and I can be that way. But she took it out on the wrong people. And it was because her love life sucked. And she was in love with one of the owners who was a surgeon. Of course, who wouldn't be, right? He's a surgeon. And he was like engaged to this other lady who was really beautiful. She looked like Halle Berry, y'all. And my boss looked more like Miss Piggy. So, but he would mess around with her, and he had dated her before he got engaged to this lady. So she was still holding on to the fact that one day she would leave him and go back with her, or she could break them up. But they had kids, like the woman he was engaged to, they had kids together. So, you know. But anyway, so whenever he would stop messing with her, because she was his side chick, y'all. Whenever he would stop messing with her, she would get angry and upset and take it out on people that she worked with. And we could all tell when he wasn't, messing with her anymore, because she would just be so mean to everyone, extra picky about everything, yelling at people, just terrible. And so one day she leaves work early. She says, I'm leaving early, da 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 da. I said, okay, bye. And then she calls me like 10 minutes later. I got in a car accident. Can you come and get me? They're gonna take me in the ambulance, but I need you to follow me in my car, because my car is still drivable, or something like that. I don't know. So I go with this lady to the hospital, and we're in there for 4 hours, and she's trying to get me to call the surgeon guy to come and pick her up and take her home. And he's not responding. He's saying, well, can you just take her home? He's trying to, blow her off, basically. And I was like, look, she's not going home with anybody. She says she only wants you to take her home. She doesn't want me to take her home. I'm stuck here. I was supposed to be off 4 hours ago. I'm not on the clock. I really, blah, 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 blah. I pretended like I cared because I wanted to keep my job. But basically, he knew what she was trying to do. So he said, okay, well, just take her to her house and tell her I'll meet her at her house. Oh, my God. So I took this lady to her house. She did not want me to come in. She did not want me to walk her to the door. She wanted to wait in the car. I drove my car because I went back and got my car. And I drove my car to drop her off. And she didn't want to get out the car until he showed up in his car. So we're sitting in my car, just sitting there. I'm like, okay, this lady is crazy. So finally, I feel like an hour of waiting in the car, he comes. And then she starts faking like she's injured. And he takes her in the house. And he's rolling his eyes the whole time at me like, oh my God, this lady. Oh my God. Giving me signals that he does not want to be, in this situation. She's a drama queen, da 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 da. So I was like, okay. And so after a while, the surgeon's family started liking me, because his grandfather and his sons and all that started liking me, because I looked like their deceased sister or their deceased aunt or whatever. I don't know. They had a big portrait hanging up in the funeral home of this lady that looked just like me, and that was one of their family members. So the surgeon's father, which was the grandpa, started liking me like a daughter, and he would ask me to come over and cook gumbo for him, and spend holidays and stuff. I had my own family, but the days before holidays, little parties, and so I would go, and the lady started getting jealous because they were liking me more than they were liking her. And I was actually interested in the surgeon's son. We were hanging out, we were dating. But she thought that I was trying to get her man, which I did not want at the time, because that was when I was really young, when I looked at men for cuteness instead of stability and personality. So his son was cute. His son, his father was rich, His son took me over there, $1 million mansion, and we hung out and stuff. And the lady just started getting super jealous of me. So she started treating me super bad. And so I told her, I was like, you know what? I told her, I was like, I kind of let her know I was dating the son, so she wouldn't get jealous. So she was like, she still didn't like that either. But then, because I don't think she wanted me to be in the family before she was. She was crazy. She was crazy. Okay, so then what happened, what made me lose it and quit was one day after a funeral, she was looking for a CD of funeral music that they would play at the family's request. And I said, well, I don't have the CD. You must have left it in the car. And she's like, I did not leave it in there. And I said, well, I remember I saw it in there. And so we got to this huge argument about a CD, y'all. And she said, well, if we don't find it, you're going to pay for it. And you know me, I was like, I was tired of being bullied. So I said, I'm not paying for nothing. That was it, y'all. She got in my face like she was my mother. You don't tell me what you're not going to do. And I'm like, okay. I was like, you know what? I was like, when you find that CD, let me know, because it was in your car. Anyway, so we didn't talk the rest of that day. I was pissed. I was like, you know what? I'm going to show this lady. I took a 2-hour lunch break, and I was only supposed to take one. I was just driving around. I went shopping. I was listening to music. I went and got a smoothie. You know, I took my time. And I know they were pissed, because when I got back, because there was like 2 funerals that were coming up in a wake that night. So when I got back, where were you? You took a 2-hour lunch break and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. What? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you know what? She said, what were you doing? I said, I was driving around thinking. She's like, well, what were you thinking about? I said, quitting. And she was like, you don't have to think anymore because you're fired. I was like, good. I said, why do you think I took a 2-hour lunch break? I knew I was going to quit. I said, can nobody work with you? You're too crazy. And meanwhile, I had the whole thing recording. Okay, I'm recording the conversation. And this is before cell phones could record. So I had one of them old school with the little bitty tapes hidden in my jacket because I knew I was going to quit. I wanted it on tape. So I clicked record in my pocket. And she set me down at her desk and formally like fired me. I'm like, lady, I already quit. And so I'm gathering my things, you know, off my desk. And she's like, there were other receptionists, like the other workers there, where there were 2 women. And they're like, they were like, I can't believe you're quitting. I can't believe you got fired. I was like, well, it's okay. You know, I'm just going to go and find me a rich man and get married. I'm done. This is for the birds. So they were laughing. And the funny thing is, 2 weeks later, that's what I did. You know, that's what happened by fate, by me manifesting what I really wanted. You know, I was so sweet, young, and naive when I entered the funeral business. And it wasn't the business, it was the people that I worked with. It had nothing to do with the business. There are some funeral homes who are very professional, who are corporate owned, who don't comply with certain, you know, actions of their employee. They will get fired if they do stupid stuff like that. So that's the reason I quit. I was actually going to go back into the field, but then I met the person that I married. And they told me, you don't have to work anymore, okay, if you don't want to. And so that was just enough for me to say, okay, I don't need to work anymore. Thank you. You know, this was my first real quick manifestation that occurred within like 2 weeks. This is what opened my eyes to the power that people have just by words or really wanting something or manifesting something. And my motivation was anger and, you know, betrayal. You know, I was hurt because I went to school. I paid my money to be in this field, and this lady just comes and takes it all away, you know, within minutes. And I was like, you know what? Success, they say, is the best revenge. And the thing that she based her success on and value as a woman was getting a man of means, or getting a man of means to be with her. So that is what actually I did. And the best revenge is success. And I'm going to tell y'all about when we came across each other's paths again in my next video, which is going to be my story about how manifesting and thinking positive changed my life for the better and got me to where I am today. So I'm making that video right after this one. So y'all stay tuned and y'all go find it. All right, peace.